Welcome in on a Saturday evening as Alabama steamrolls Missouri 39-10. But we're not going to talk a lot about this box score initially today. We've got producer Kev with us. We've got Bama fan Dave with us, the whole CABC crew in here. And the story surrounds one Tua Tagovailoa. No, he did not play in the fourth quarter, but perhaps for different reasons. Clearly re-aggravated that knee sprain that held him out a little bit this week. But we do have our first quote post-game from Nick Saban, who says, quote, Tua's okay. He's got the same injury he had before. We just didn't put him back in. Jalen did a nice job, end quote. So not the end of the world for Tua, according to one Nick Saban. We're going to discuss this injury and kind of what may be a good move here going forward with an interesting timeline. But there were other injuries in this game for Alabama as well. I'm going to kick it to Bama fan Dave. I know you have some updates on some of the other guys who went down briefly or otherwise in this game.
Yeah, I mean, so far, reports out of Nick Saban's presser is that Devontae Smitty, who they said is the worst out of all the injuries, he's only day-to-day. I know Henry Ruggs went back in the game. Tua, as you saw, was ready to come back in the game. Saban said, hold up. He would have been able to play had it been a close game. Nick Saban says that Tua would have went back into the game, so that's good news. I know Alex Leatherwood went down first half. He came back in the game. So I think from the injury standpoint, everything looked good. I know watching the game was a little scary, a little stressful. Guys going down left and right, but all reports are that none of them are serious injuries at this time.
Yeah, excellent news there. So Alabama again, 39-10 over Missouri. Producer Kev, I mean, where do we begin? Where do we begin this discussion? Do we just call it the Tua hour? I mean, where do we go with this thing?
Yeah, we'll talk about Tua for a little bit. I think it shows a lot about his mentality and kind of that warrior mentality that the Polynesians instill in their kids. I mean, kids playing with a sprained knee, and I mean, you're not going to get a lot of quarterbacks in the country that are going to go out there and play with an injury like that. Hats off to him for giving it a go. I know he re-aggravated it on that run there in the second half, but I mean, more power to him to get back out there and play for his team.
I guess we should get to the performance a little bit. I think everybody could realize that he was a little bit more inefficient today. And I think when you look at the injury and you look at just the which knee it was his right knee, right?
Yeah.
And if you think of as a passer, right, you're a lefty, that right knee is the front knee when you're a lefty. So what does that mean? Well, conventional wisdom, football, basketball, freaking javelin, I don't know. Back leg is power, front leg is accuracy. So could that have affected why he was more inaccurate in terms of the numbers today compared to previous games? Perhaps. Maybe that's just an extreme hypothesis. But when you factor in, as our CABC family let us know, that he also wasn't holding, I think that tells you what type of pain or at least discomfort he was going on. And if you still don't believe it after those two facts, well, how about the fact that he changed braces? He had the bulkier, almost O-line looking knee brace pregame, and in the first half and second half, it's more of a knee sleeve, which is obviously less restrictive, but also less protective. And sure enough, what was it, first or second drive of the second half, he slides, doesn't feel good, and that's the last we see of Tua before mom and dad are in and out of the tent, which is probably a whole nother story.
How about that? I've never seen a parent be allowed into the medical tent.
Ever.
So
he's an adult, it's just
royalty.
Yeah, I think that's the crowning moment, right? I mean, the Sabans have been overtaken by the Tagovailoas in terms of the first football family of Alabama. Mom was down ASAP, and then the next camera angle, Galu, the father, was down there as well. So never seen that, especially I could understand if it was a really bad injury, maybe a situation where there's a spine board being brought out, ambulance, something where everyone's kind of freaked out, or maybe the bone's out of out of the skin or something, but it was never a severe issue. So that surprised me quite a bit. Again, that's a story for another day. In 24 plus years of college athletics coverage or being around football, I've never seen that at any level, much less with an adult. But again, story for another day. But either way, Tua was a little bit discomforted today. Jalen Hurts comes in for him and does a serviceable job after that point, and Alabama's defense tightens up in the second half, and Alabama comes away with the win. What are the initial thoughts, Dave, with these injuries and with the schedule? Because I think this is the next part of that conversation.
Let's talk about the schedule first. I think they got Tennessee next week, and we all know that shouldn't be a tough game for them. No reason to play guys who are kind of banged up, and you don't want to get further injury in a season like this. So we'll see who comes back. Ruggs came back into the game, so I think he'll be full go next week. What do you think on Tua? Do you think it's worth getting a couple drives in before?
Yeah,
pull him.
I know we have Bama fans. Kev, do you have some of the reactions from our Tide faithful? I know we tweeted it late in the game there. Simply, should Bama? Here was the tweet quote: "Thanks, y'all. UT then a bye week before LSU November 3rd. Sit Tua or nah?" And the reactions were sort of split, weren't they?
Yeah. Some people said, play him if he wants to. Some people said sit him. Personally, I would just go ahead and sit him for Tennessee and let Jalen play that game because, Tennessee beat one today, but, does that really mean anything right now? That Auburn team has proven once again that they're hot dumpster fire. And
Gus is paid, though.
Hey, if there's one man that either has a whole lot of money getting ready to come to him or is in a weird situation, what was it? December 1st, he's owed like half of that, within a couple days.
Half of what is it? 38 million?
32 million.
19 mil in a couple of weeks, really. So
yeah, it's within days.
How about Jimmy Sexton, man, agent of the year? I saw a tweet where he also reps Pruitt, who was on the other side of that game. So, yeah.
Doesn't he rep Jimbo too?
Pretty much everybody. Yeah, he's like.
Nick Saban as well.
Jimbo's is the best of all of them. That's 75 guaranteed.
Guaranteed,
son.
like that's like baseball money right there.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, yeah. I'm with you, Kev. I think if you can't defeat the University of Tennessee without Tua Tgaovailoa, then do you deserve to be a college football playoff team? It might be that simple. And we saw the defense, I think, take a step in the right direction tonight. I know Missouri was able to get some yardage, things like that, but I thought the Bama defense buckled down and really held them to one really nice sustained drive where Locke hit an open man in the back of the end zone off of a three-man rush, which is not something we've seen a ton of from Tosh Lupoy. But after that point, I thought Tosh adjusted well, went to a lot more zone coverage, brought more pressure, and the defense looked like an Alabama defense, save for 3 punches from Raekwon Davis. So I think the defense would perform well against Tennessee, although they got to be confident, right? Guarantano had a pretty good game today at quarterback. But again, it's not like you're going to somebody who's never played before or anything like that. You're going to Jalen Hurts. You're going to a guy who has been there, done that, and has never lost to Tennessee. Yeah, so I'll let Bama fan Dave take it from here because I know he's the biggest Jalen Hurts fan we got on the show. What did Jalen look like today? And honestly, this year, how has he looked compared to maybe your expectations?
He has improved. I definitely see improvement with his game, his passing game. Do I want to see him start a game? Do I want to see him how he gives the defense different looks starting from the first drive? Probably not. But, you bring him in on a little package like they did in the second quarter with him in the slot, whether he takes a jet sweep and throws off that action, whether he goes into the slot and makes a play on a catch on his first reception of the season. I like seeing him in a limited type role in that kind of thing where, he gives the defense something to think about. But, they should beat Tennessee if Jalen Hurts plays the whole game. I'll say that, but it would be a lot closer than it needs to be.
What about the running game? What about the defense? I mean, is there enough compensation there?
It should be. It's Tennessee, like you said, but it's a road game. Jeremy Pruitt's going to be hyped up to play his former team, his former coach. I would rather see Tua there snap one, even if he's the same way today with a knee brace. That's just my opinion. But
so you want limited Tua like we've seen this year. Get a lead and get him out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me two scores. Give me two scores, and we could do some more Jalen Hurts action.
Part of me wants to see Jeremy Pruitt game planning all out for Jalen Hurts, just as a football guy. Kev, where do you sit on this conversation? Sit Tua, play him. Now that you've heard a couple more opinions.
Usually I'm not for sitting guys just because I wouldn't want to sit as a player. But I think with the way the offense has looked with him in the game, and the fact that they are playing Tennessee, and Tennessee hasn't really shown anything until today. He threw for Garantano threw for 328 and 2 touchdowns, and they actually looked like a decent football team today. But
they controlled that game. I was shocked.
Yeah,
kind of a weird day across the country, and of course, Bama avoids it on the scoreboard, but maybe not on the injury front. But a weird day in college football. I'm sure we'll get to some of that later.
Yeah, it was, and I think that the Tennessee Auburn game was right there in the middle of the weirdness. I wasn't expecting it at all. I thought maybe Tennessee would keep it close, but Auburn just found a way to lose. So the more I think about it, with the schedule after the Tennessee game, I definitely would probably pull the plug for the Tennessee game and let him rest and get that knee. Feeling a lot better going into the rest of that schedule, running through the gauntlet there at the end. Especially now that you got Georgia with a loss. I just feel like you should probably sit him.
Yeah, certainly the build up to LSU November 3rd is going to be pretty strong. And for those who don't know the schedule, it is Tennessee at Tennessee next week for Alabama, then a bye week, then at LSU. You're getting some rest, some built-in rest. So obviously, if Tua continues to sit, he would have had this second half off tonight, a couple of weeks off before LSU November 3rd. But as reactions continue to come in with you guys on the live chat now, there's still some kind of mixed feelings. I think most Bama fans are starting to lean towards him sitting, but not necessarily. They don't necessarily feel like Nick will do it, and that's where obviously he has the final call if Tua is available, like he was, as Dave said, there in the second half. So this conversation, I'm sure, will pop up about 27 more times in the next week. So we could probably go off of that for just a moment. Do we, Dave and Kev, do we go to the knee injury? Kev, you said he toughed it out, and obviously, he deserves credit for that. But do we point to that as the reason that the efficiency numbers were a bit down? He was a little bit more tentative and obviously not as mobile as we've seen. Do we blame all of that on the knee, or do we give some love to the Missouri defense?
I'll blame it on the knee. Missouri's defense looked pretty good for the most part. As good as the Missouri defense can look. And then, with the knee, that's obviously anytime a quarterback has a knee issue, you're going to get, you're not going to get his full potential because, you're nursing the knee. You don't want to get hit. You're trying to avoid hits in the pocket and stuff like that, unnecessary hits. And, we saw him run out of the pocket there and slide, and he looks like he aggravated the knee when he went down to slide. He kind of jammed it into he jammed his foot into the turf and it looked like his knee jammed. And that's in my opinion, I think that kind of was what re-aggravated it. And
Yeah, that was big too because I've got some sources in the medical field. I'll say that. And the big the big deal is when you have an injury. Obviously, your body knows that there's inflammation, whatever, especially in the knee, and then there's usually a compensation somewhere, right? So oftentimes when you see a knee injury, a calf or a hammy will pop up after that, and then Tua grabbed the back of that knee when he did slide down. So at that point, you didn't know if maybe he was grabbing the bottom of his hamstring or what have you. So I thought it was big for Nick Saban to clarify that it was a re-aggravation and it was the same injury and not a new injury, which is something that often happens after one injury that can cause inflammation in a joint area, like obviously a knee. So I thought that was pretty big. Dave, are you blaming the knee for? I guess what B level Tua, which is still ridiculous numbers wise, but obviously not what we've come used to this year.
Yeah. Do you say it's a B plus or an A minus type game? It's definitely not his A game. I say it's a combination of two. You could tell he wasn't comfortable in the knee brace, whether it was just the way he moves in the pocket or not trusting it when he would follow through on his throws. But if you look at some of the incompletions, especially down the red zone, it looked like there was a little out of sync between him and the receivers. I think some plays, I know fans are calling for some holding penalties on the Missouri defense. So, there were throws that, the ball would have been there. The receiver got held up a little bit and the pass was incomplete. So, overall, I'm not going to say it's all on the knee. I don't want to do that. But, yeah, it was probably some combination of the two. And I'm not going to give the Missouri defense any credit whatsoever.
There he is. That's why his name's Bama Fan Dave, y'all.
How many plays did we see where receivers were like 20 yards open? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, their secondary is not very good. But I will say their front seven looked pretty good. Terry Beckner's an NFL guy, number 5.
He's a good player. Yeah.
I remember him in high school. He was like one of the scariest dudes I've covered, and that I don't say that much. And
any defensive lineman that goes to Missouri has a chance to get drafted in the first round.
Yeah. Well, yeah. How about that, Coach Cool for Bama
playing against his old team? Yeah.
I would imagine that's the first time he's done that. I thought the D line looked very technically sound today compared to some other efforts this year. I thought the interior was really good. I thought Bama's breakdowns were often on the exterior, setting the edge, those outside backers, even the safeties coming down in the box tonight. But I thought the interior and that front three, the starting three, Buggs, Davis, and Quinnen Williams, played hell of a games, all three of them. And, Todd McShay was there for ESPN, so I'm sure you heard on the broadcast that, he's got all these guys high on his list, and I don't think any of them hurt their stock today. But yeah, that Missouri front seven had some dudes. I was actually sad to see 24 ejected for targeting. I mean, I thought he was bringing some energy for Missouri, and I would have liked to see him and Najee in the hole maybe a couple times, but we didn't get that one.
I wish they'd do away with targeting.
Yeah, it's
targeting on a running play now. Jeez,
seriously, like what are you supposed to do? It's like the one in the. I don't know if you saw the one in the Washington-Oregon game. The quarterback is getting sacked and wiggles out of it.
Yeah.
Comes around, and literally as he turns, the D lineman's already there, and the quarterback just turned into him. They happen to hit helmet targeting. He's out of the game, and he was their best D lineman, and Washington obviously lost that game. So it's obviously unfortunate. None of us are fans of that. You can't do that, but Raekwon Davis can three-piece a dude. And they see it, flag it, but he's cool to stay in the game and keep it moving. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Standout performances, just offensively, defensively, just kind of your gut reactions to the game outside of Tua and Jalen, whichever one of y'all wants to
go. Run game wise looked good. Jacobs, Najee, Damian, they all ran the ball well. I think, obviously Najee's a different cat when he's looking for contact. And then obviously the other two are both very good running backs as well. It was good to see Najee get a good number of carries tonight. And the offensive line, I think they struggle. Lester goes down, Leatherwood goes down at one point, and so you got different linemen in there, and I think the guys that came in stepped up and they played well. Deontay Brown played well, I thought, in relief for Lester.
Yeah, I thought to me two players that stood out both on the offense and defense was Judy. Caught some deep balls, made a nice play on the adjustment from Hurts on one deep ball, and then Savon Smith, who really needed to step up coming into the game with the injury to Trayvon Diggs, and he did just that. He had 2 picks tonight, but even without those 2 picks, it was just like stat wise. But numerous times came into the box, made some plays, made some nice tackles on running plays, which I was impressed to see. So those are my 2 players that right off the bat just had good games. And
we came into this probably thinking, I know once Bama started taking control and before Tua gets injured or whatever, we're probably thinking we're going to come into this game talking about how the defense looks post Trayvon Diggs this year. And that story got buried, one, because Savion gets a pick on the 3rd play of the game and plays well the rest of the game, and obviously other injuries go down. So, yeah, I thought that was big, Dave. That's another area that is going to be talked about quite a bit, that secondary. But I thought Surtain played well. I thought Savion played well. Shaheem Carter, again, a glue guy.
He had some nice plays, yeah.
When Bama's secondary was beat, it was Drew Lock making wow throws. It didn't happen a lot. He only completed what? Let me go to the numbers
13
right
passes.
Quick. 13 of 26. Yeah, so obviously he wasn't efficient, 50% there, but some of those completions were a little ridiculous. The touchdown was beautiful. A couple of those down the sidelines. One of them in between 2 defenders. One of them just a great 50-50 ball that they put in position for the wide receiver. So I thought he beat the Bama secondary, and we all know a great pass beats great coverage most of the time. So I thought that was a huge bright spot. His confidence has to be – well, first of all, he's a Florida guy. So the broadcast was talking about his confidence. F that. His confidence was fine. I promise you. I promise you his confidence was fine. But you get an interception, it gets enhanced a little bit, and that's who he is. We talked about it from the moment he committed to Alabama. This is a high-risk, high-reward guy, and when he's going, it's like a streaky home run hitter or a three-point shooter. I mean, he's got some J.R. Smith in his game. If it's going, he's an asset to that team. Just on the field strictly here in that comparison. So good for him and good for that secondary, who I thought coverage-wise, there's been some lapses this year. I thought the linebackers were better in coverage today, which is something that probably was needed. Now, against the run, still probably some question marks out there, especially when you look at that schedule. Tennessee wants to run the ball. It's a Jeremy Pruitt coach team. They want to run the ball. Now, they don't have Bama backs, and he knows that, but they want to at least try to run the ball. And they've got some stars on that offensive line, some NFL guys for sure, especially 73 at left tackle.
Trey Smith.
Yeah. Yes, and then, obviously, bye week, we know LSU wants to run the ball. And then after that, you get to Mississippi State. The Citadel, even they want to run the ball. And Auburn needs to – I don't know what Auburn needs to do. They need to do a lot. But
they got to change the coach and their quarterback, and then they can start running the ball.
How about the – I don't want to tangent too much here. How about the preseason expectations for Jarrett Stidham and where we are now? Auburn fans are calling for Malik Willis, a 3-star Atlanta area dual threat who wasn't getting any attention until his senior year. I mean, it's just – college football is amazing, and it's drunk, and it's weird, and this was the one – weird Saturday. It seems like it happens every year, and Auburn was a part of that. But who would have thought preseason that Auburn fans would be calling for Jarrett Stidham as much as, if not more, than Gus Malzahn, which that's not as surprising. But still, it's just amazing that we were at this point on October 13th that people are calling for the most experienced quarterback in the SEC, not named Drew Lock or Kyle Shermer, to be benched. It's quite wild for sure. So we'll get into that weird Saturday at some point. Where does Bama need to get better, guys? Where does Bama need to get better at about the halfway point? Obviously, injuries speak for themselves, and you wonder how that could affect the game plan going forward. Obviously, starting at the quarterback position, but beyond that, just unit wise, where is their progress, and where is there maybe a lack of progress?
On the defense, I still see the inside linebackers lost a good amount of time. I mean, taking the wrong gaps, taking the wrong angles in pursuit. That's an area where they definitely can get better as the season progresses. This is not an inside linebacker group that we're used to seeing from a Nick Saban defense. I've never seen inside linebackers look so lost. What have you seen today? I didn't see much improvement. I mean, yeah, there was overall the defense was good, much better than last week against Arkansas, but I think Matt Wilson still looks lost half the time.
Yeah, the linebacking core for me and the edge pressure, still not a consistent edge pressure that the Bama fans are used to. They don't have that Tim Williams coming off the edge this year. I mean, I know they've improved in the recent weeks. I will say that, but it's still not consistent. And obviously, the two in the middle. I think Dylan's making strides. And then obviously, most people know my opinion on Mac Wilson. I wish we could see some Ali Cajo or something in there to fix that. But Mac has just been. I mean, I wasn't high on Mac coming out of high school, but he flashes, and everybody knows that he flashes, and he'll make that flash play, but then he's got a running back squared up in the backfield, and kid breaks a tackle and gains a couple yards, and he looks lost in pass coverage. And I mean, so I would say those two positions, and then obviously we've only seen him in a couple games, but Skylar DeLong's punting has been
Redshirt's gone
questionable.
too, bro.
I know.
Nice.
I tweeted it this week that he still had a red shirt, but not anymore.
Okay. The sooner that he gets out of Tuscaloosa, the better.
He's a freshman.
You got 4 years of Skylar DeLong, son.
No, sir. Will Reichardt's going to
be Will Reichard, dual threat kicker, punter?
Yes, sir.
What do we call that?
Reichardt's not going to punt. He's going to kick.
He's better than this guy.
Like the number 4 punter in the country.
I'm better than this guy.
I know he's the number 4 punter, but
do we call that dual threat? Like, what is the word for that? What's the phrase? I suck at all things kickers. So
aren't they just what they're all inclusive? I don't know.
All inclusive.
All inclusive. There we go. We'll go with that.
I don't know. A new nickname.
The bye week's coming up. We'll hit up small inclusives there.
We got a new nickname for Skylar DeLong. It's Skylar DeShank until proven otherwise.
Yeah, I thought obviously that was something.
Right? I mean, the guy hasn't punted in a couple of weeks. You would think his leg's a little fresh, right? You can't belt out more than a 15-yarder.
I mean, that's one of those things where, like, that does suck for him because he hasn't seen the field in 2 weeks, and then he has to come in and punt. Like, kind of feel bad for the kid, but you still got to punt. You still got to perform when you're called on, and then obviously the fact that Alabama can't make field goals either.
Hey,
so they made one.
One in the bag.
So
Joseph
People
got excited about one. So
I saw people saying that he was.
So we're making progress.
Well, hey, 3 or 4 today. 3 or 4. 75%.
And the one he did miss was the one he did miss was a 50+ yarder. So
right, and the long was the long was only 30 yards, but 3 or 4 nonetheless.
Yeah.
So 75% is a rate that Bama fans will happily accept in the kicking
Improvement.
department.
Slow improvement.
Yeah. One quick thing on 30. You know, some guys it's there's an athleticism to them that just makes it happen, right? You don't plan for certain things. There's a game plan, there's your responsibility, there's a right way to approach it, and then there's some guys who in between all of those things just make plays. They can wiggle into something or wiggle out of something and make a play. We see those things with 32, particularly in short spaces. I saw him take on a left tackle and shed him and make a play for a 1 yard gain today, which I did not expect to see. With 30, not as much of that. When he is engaged with a blocker, the blocker typically wins that rep. And a lot of his tackles have been 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 yards down the field, just like they were in the national championship game, even though the numbers suggested that he was dominant. So that is where you don't expect him to be second there. You expect his experience and his frankly his reputation as a hard hitter. I mean, his nickname is Mac. That's not his real name, y'all. Like, his name is Lindell. His name is Mac because of his reputation. So you expect
one
him,
hit on a kickoff and everybody loves him.
You have to do that on a consistent basis. It's about the little things. So when 32 makes a mistake, it's at 100 miles an hour, and you kind of get it. When 30 does, it's more glaring. It's just a little bit more glaring. So that is something that is I'm surprised we haven't seen a change. Not even because there might be somebody better, but because of the situations that Bama has been in with some of these games. I think Tosh Lupoi can afford to get somebody else in there just for a look. I'm not saying to replace him, but just for a change of pace, just like you do at any other position. So D linemen rotate, the secondary rotates to some degree. Why not get some other inside guys in there at the second level just to see what it looks like? Josh McMillan, Ale Cajo, as producer Kev suggested, there are guys there. Jalen Moody, the freshman, he's a big, strong guy. You expect to be good against the run, thicker guy. That's where maybe we didn't expect to see issues, and we're still seeing them. We thought it was more, just it's coverage, it's communication, it's the leadership, it's the ascent, the expected ascent, because all these broadcasters say he's the next guy after Reuben Foster. I mean, it's not that simple. So maybe get someone else in there. And I wonder how the bye week in 2 weeks could impact that, because preseason, when Bama got Ale Cajo and when all these guys went into camp, we thought, okay, he's not going to be ready day one, but maybe game 8, 9, 10, you could start to see an impact. So I'll be watching that pretty closely over the next couple of weeks. Anything else you guys want to get in? Just gut reaction off of this Bama game. What about wide receiver? If Smitty can't go going forward, and maybe Ruggs has a setback, Waddle, obviously we expect to play more. Anybody else? Shaver's got some burn. They threw a screen to Derek Keefe, which I thought was weird.
It worked.
Yeah, I mean, he caught it.
Down.
Yeah. But I just, personnel-wise, all the guys you got, and he's probably the worst after the catch. At least, height, weight, speed, and all of that. Anything else from the game that is on your mind before we get into this super weird Saturday?
People in the chat want to know our opinion on the Raekwon Davis situation. And for me, I play on the line. I've been
Y'all are nasty dudes, man.
I've been in lots of piles, and a three-piece is the least of anything that goes on in a pile. I mean, I wore a visor so that I didn't get eye gouged. Like, there's stuff that goes on in the bottom of a pile that most people don't even know. So him throwing a three-piece, it was dumb, and he should have been ejected, which means he would have missed the first half of the Tennessee game. But I mean, he didn't get ejected, so that was a good thing. He should have been, but he wasn't, and it wasn't really, in my opinion, wasn't that big of a deal compared to what else goes on in the bottom of a pile.
Dave?
Yeah, one last point. I saw this on a fourth down where they, fourth and like one, inside that, like the 10, 15-yard line. gave it to Damian. He didn't convert. I think last week also was the same thing. Fourth and one, short play, give to Damian, didn't convert. Just want to see the O-line get more push on these fourth and short. These should be like money for Bama. With this O-line, with this talent, running back, and then the quarterback with the option to run. No reason why they shouldn't be converting on these fourth downs. So just seeing the offensive line get nasty, continue to get that push.
Yeah, without watching the game again, I would say Piersmaker looked like he got bested a few times. And again, Beckner, we said, is an NFL guy and everything, but it's the SEC, right? The expectation is that everybody's got at least 100%. One. So, yeah, I'd agree with that. That the short yard, especially when Jalen Hurts is in the game, because of that expectation, it seems like it's a little bit harder for Bama to get that figured out. So that's something that I would like to see. How do you feel, Dave, about the Raekwon situation? Obviously, the SEC and or Nick Saban will have to look into it, I would assume. But how would you handle it if you were Mr. Saban there?
I thought, besides Nick Saban, I thought he should have gotten suspended by the refs, right? Throwing punches like that. That's a usual suspension. And that suspension from the game, thrown out of the game. I don't know if that comes with an automatic suspension going forward. The SEC is going to look at it, review the tape. It didn't look, and obviously if he guys throws punches, it's dirty, not called for, but was it like a vicious punch? No, it was to the guy's back. Didn't look, it did much damage. Yeah, obviously Nick's going to be furious with that, but I think he should be a good go for Tennessee. Don't see any issues there.
Yeah, I think if you sit him, it's a couple drives, first quarter type of thing. Nothing.
We're gonna take care of it internally. He'll miss like the first 2 drives or something stupid. So I don't think he misses a whole quarter. I don't think he misses a whole half. He probably gets a couple drives off.
Yeah, internal discipline is a fun phrase in today's game. It's a different game. Different game, man. Most people throw punches. They're done for some kind of time, right?
Yeah.
But here we are.
And who knows?
Don't accidentally hit a quarterback, but you can throw some punches on national TV.
The SEC could look at it, and the SEC could come back and suspend him. Who knows? I mean,
high school, when the kids fight on the field, I was actually at a game a couple weeks ago. Those kids missed 6 games. 6. They're high school, so that's more than half of the season. So guys who are older and theoretically more mature are getting, hey, whatever punishment Lord Saban sees fit, and or the SEC, which, let's be honest, Nick has a ton of influence there as well. So, that's pretty interesting. Kev, anything else? What else is going on in that chat? It's going too fast for me.
Yeah. I mean, some pretty good. There's a couple of maybe conspiracy theories in here about Saban faked the Tua injury just to see how they would perform. I mean,
that would be baller, man. That would be Darth Vader type stuff.
I love the stuff like that. A lot of people were asking about it's a lot of going back and forth. I love the going back and forth with everybody. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say they should sit Tua. And then some people saying suspend Raekwon for the first half. And then talking about O-line played well, especially in pass protection.
All year, man. That's all year stuff right there.
Talking about Savion played good. I do think he played good. He made a couple of good open field one-on-one tackles that saved first downs and big plays. Some people talking about, Missouri was playing dirty and stuff like that, which, I mean, usually when you're getting beat, you tend to play dirty. We got some complimenting action going on. Mr. Spencer Charles said, "Love y'all boys. Keep doing your thing. Love the rawness of CABC." That's right. What we're here for. We keep it pretty raw around here.
I mean, just look at Kev's beard. That's the show.
Yeah, I mean, You're not
I
going
mean,
to see anybody
focus
else.
is off right now, but just watch the show. There you go. There it is.
What? Oh yeah. So, I mean, that's the main stuff.
I see
Talking
Ben
about.
Davis's name. Why?
I know because we were asking who should step up, and somebody put Ben Davis, LOL, because they obviously know how much we hate taking Ben Davis questions and talking Ben Davis.
Hey, Ben Davis will be like a senator in Alabama or something. So y'all bite your tongue. I don't know. I'm just saying that.
Watch
He'll run,
watch.
he'll run
No,
through.
Ben Davis is going to end up being a head coach somewhere because I don't know. He's going to end up being a student coach, and he's going to be a GA, and then he's going to be a position coach, and then he's a freaking Saban disciple, and then he's
Ben
going to
Davis, head coach at Alabama, 2040.
Jesus.
Write it
Let's
down.
see.
Heard it here first.
I see a Markell Benton showing there. Yeah, Benton's not another guy who's going to be in the mix. Him and Ben Davis can hold hands on the bench together.
Oh, I love Dave. So yeah, talking about Drew Lock wasn't that impressive. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed in my preseason SEC Player of the Year. There, he's had a rough couple games. I kind of regret that pick now, but hey, I'll stick with it.
Hey, at least you didn't pick Damon Harris like I did.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So you wanna get into this weird weekend we had?
Sure. Where do you want to start? Because I mean, it's still going technically, but a lot of ranked teams went down. A lot of top 10 teams went down, and there was only one undefeated team in the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, so I figured we'd start in the SEC like we usually do, and then move to the rest of the country.
Let's do it.
Obviously, we kind of talked about the Tennessee-Auburn game. Tennessee put up 30 on that supposed elite Auburn defense. So now, not only does their offense not work, their defense isn't working, which is the one thing they had to hang their hat on. But so yeah, Auburn does not look like it's going in a good direction for the rest of the year. And I mean, like 4-3, so technically they don't have to win 2 more games to be bowl eligible. But
you're going there. You're going bowl eligibility.
Well, I mean, shoot. I mean, they're gonna get one in Liberty. They'll beat Liberty.
Maybe.
But I mean, you got. I mean, you never know. Buckshot beat Troy today, so
don't sleep on they did.
They beat Troy, bro.
Bro, Troy is good. They got some dudes down there, man.
I know. Buckshot slinging the pill.
Buckshot Calvert, like the best quarterback Auburn's going to face this year until a certain day in November.
Yeah. So I mean, they play Ole Miss, they play A&M, they play Georgia, and they play Bama, and Liberty. So they need 2 wins in that group to be bowl eligible.
Wow.
So, and they're not beating A&M, they're not beating Georgia, and they're not beating Bama, so they better get those.
They got to beat Ole Miss, pretty much.
Yes. They got to win that game.
So, and the way they're playing right now, I don't think that happens.
Dave is a video-less emoji right now on the broadcast.
Yeah, I think my phone went powerless saving mode or something like that. Power saving mode and cut out on the video.
It's cool though because when you talk, it has a little ring around it.
Nice. The little ring lights up.
You're now the Jarvis of our show. You're the AI component who's just there to run the numbers and tell us that we shouldn't be doing things.
So then, moving through the SEC, the Florida Vandy game. Vandy should have won that game. And then how about so me and you talked about it. How about my man Derek Mason? Derek Mason whooped Dan Mullen's ass. Like,
yo,
Derek Mason would have beat the whole Florida staff by himself.
What is the seeding looking like in the all SEC coaches bracket?
Derek Mason,
man versus man, no holds barred cage match.
Derek Mason's a 1 on one side, and Ed Orgeron's a 1 on the other
Yes.
side.
Yes. Ed O.
So
I don't know. I don't know if I could bet against Ed O in anything like that. There's old man strength, and then there's just like Cajun Southern strength, and then there's Ed O strength.
because my man was doing some crazy like Cajun farm work when he was younger, and like has that just ridiculous strength. So yeah, I put Derek Mason on one side and O on the other side as the 1 seed, and then I like Pruitt's fieriness. I think he gets a 2 or a 3 seed.
Pruitt's a sleeper. I'm with you there.
Yeah,
I done heard a couple things there.
Yeah, so obviously Dan Mullen's gonna get like a real low seed because he's like the duckiest dude of all time. Just watching him get like held back by a referee today, I was like, that dude is like, I couldn't play for that man. Like, it's just like it's up there with the Lou Holtz lisp. Like,
Oh my
I couldn't deal with it. And then Saban's fiery, so I give him probably a 3 seed. So
You better be technical. You better be
yeah,
technical against some of those guys.
yeah. So I give but those were my 2 1 seeds were Mason and O.
Yeah, I wouldn't sleep on Pruitt, and another one I wouldn't sleep on based off of, again, stories combined with what we know about him publicly. Will Muschamp. I think Will Muschamp would be like that dude who when you're starting off, like, you got him, right? You're a little bit more athletic, you're quicker, but once you get that first hit or two off, he hits a different gear. He hits another level. He has that crazy in him where he wants to absorb that first hit.
Yeah.
You give him that first blow and he hits level 2. Goes a little Super Saiyan and can do some damage. So he'd be a pretty high seed on my bracket as well. And I think another sleeper is Moorhead from Mississippi State. Just because he's a big old dude and he always looks real chill. And those are the guys sometimes you got to worry about. So.
Yeah. And then after seeing him today, I mean, Missouri head coach is kind of jacked.
Defensive guy too, so you give those guys the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. So I wouldn't sleep on him either. He looked kind of jacked.
Right, bottom seeds, obviously Mullen. Who else is like bottom few?
Jimbo.
Kirby.
I think Kirby. I think Kirby's a good middle seed.
I think Kirby's a good middle seed.
Tell me why you're hating on my guy Kirby there, Android Dave.
Have you seen that guy pump his fist on the sidelines?
No,
a clown.
Another bottom seed is Luke from Ole Miss.
Him and Gus would get trampled on.
I think
my man from Ole Miss.
Very bottom. Who is the last seed in this conversation?
Dan Mullen.
Dan Mullen definitely is the last seed.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Dan Mullen, without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm glad we got there. So it was a weird Saturday. I know one of the comments says, "Can we just talk about Tennessee the rest of the show?" I'm shocked y'all are cool with that. I'm shocked. What else was weird about today? I mean, heck, Georgia LSU coaches were just.
I want to talk about that game.
I mean, 20 points. For the record, I told you guys to take LSU and the points.
Yep.
But man, 20 points, and honestly,
that was impressive, man.
It looked like it could have been worse. Like it looked like there were a few Joe Burrow throws away from it being a 30-point game. I don't know.
Yeah.
So my question in that game is, where was Justin Fields?
I know. I thought it was 16-0 at half, something like that.
Yeah.
I thought Kirby was going to pull a Nick and say, well, at halftime it screwed me when they switched quarterbacks, so I'm coming out with Justin Fields. And then we did see Fields in the third quarter, but it was for one play and he ran the ball, which is, I guess the expectation. So that was disappointing. And yeah, I don't know. It's just like the Bama deal, right? It's just like the Bama deal preseason that we were talking about. Dave has spearheaded this on the show. You got a great quarterback, a very good, high 4-star guy, safer, smarter, older. in the system. We hear nothing but great things on and off the field, leader, all of those things. That's great. But when you got a potential generational guy, which we don't know yet because he hadn't played enough, but if you have a potential generational guy, you got to start moving in that direction. We've seen Dabo do it. We obviously saw Nick do it in the Natty. We're seeing freshmen everywhere. Brock Purdy, who Bama was recruiting, just went out there and beat West Virginia.
Kid looks good,
freshman.
I was wrong on that kid. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah, Dave. I should show our texts from back then. Yeah, I mean, when you know you got a guy who might be that guy, my thing is you got to find out. We ask a lot of questions on this show, right, Kev? We're like, is Miami good? Like we still didn't know if Miami was good after the Florida State comeback because we don't think Florida State's very good. And we found out today Miami loses to Virginia. So no, they're not good. But at least Miami made their switch, and Miami is on the way towards finding out if N'Kosi Perry, their young guy, is the guy. I think Jaron Williams needs some love at some point, but
they pulled him.
If you're not a national title team, or if you think a new guy can be the difference between a natty and not, you have to find out before it gets too cold outside. You got to find out when things are still fresh and you can catch somebody by surprise. And I'm surprised we hadn't seen it from Georgia at this point. And now I wonder if they do it, is it too late? What does the locker room start to say? I mean, that creates such a special problem that I think obviously Alabama has somehow avoided. They don't have a Kelly Bryant situation. They don't have a split locker room like we could theoretically see at Georgia. You got to go with the new guy. And I thought at halftime, number one was coming out. It was a 2-score game at that point. It was manageable until it wasn't.
Yeah. I thought they were
I think just LSU just whooped them on the line of scrimmage. LSU was able to run the ball. And I think it's just in the trenches. They just were just more the better physical team, and that's why you saw the result. Georgia had 3 turnovers from 2 picks, a fumble. Just a great game all around by LSU, and Coach O has them rumbling into that Bama game. That's going to be some hyped up game if they could beat Mississippi State next week, which
they obviously should. But
they should, but it's LSU, so who knows? I'm rooting that they could somehow go into that Bama game 7-1, and it'd be the biggest game of the year, right? 2 top 5 teams.
Yeah, I mean, we thought it was Auburn.
That would be some game, right? So
and now the Georgia game we've been penciling in for since the national championship last year is now literally up in the air. Now there's some one-loss teams in the East, and the Kentucky Wildcats and the Florida Gators, who
Florida's look pretty good, so
are in that conversation. That is shocking to me. Florida, Georgia coming up next week? 2 weeks. Florida, Georgia is the same day, I believe, as LSU, Bama. So, no, it's during the bye week of LSU, Bama. So,
Florida, Georgia is the 27th.
Yeah, so that could
2
be
weeks
for the East.
The bye week. Yep.
Yeah. Wow. How about 16 seed Dan Mullen leading those guys?
They look good.
Yeah.
The world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
Yeah, we can't call that anymore, right? Is that another one that we can't just call?
Yeah, that's another one they don't. That's another one they don't use.
Is that an NFL stadium?
Because it promotes drinking, and
college football promotes drinking.
I know, but
they're not showing the fans who are sitting there like, writing down notes. They're not showing those fans, young or old, by the way. CBS.
Yeah, and then if you go on any type of social media, you can always find some passed out people in the stands. I love doing that.
Exactly. So it's college football. You can't get 100,000 people in one place and expect it to be comfortable.
Yeah. So the world, they don't use it anymore. I don't know. Stupid.
Was Kentucky off today? They weren't a part of the weirdness.
Yeah, Kentucky was off. Kentucky was off.
All right. So top 10 teams that lose: Washington, Georgia. Who am I missing? Penn State.
West
Virginia.
The Big 12 and the Big 10 are like, yep, here we go. We're just starting to creep back into our old ways.
Well, the Big 12 and the Pac-12 are just making it easy for Notre Dame to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, Pac-12. I mean, Oregon, Colorado. That's your hope now. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
How about that?
Colorado's your undefeated hope right now.
I think Georgia losing today was big for Notre Dame because if they go undefeated, they're not going to put in a one-loss or a two-loss Georgia team over Notre Dame goes undefeated. They're in right now. I don't see any way that they're not. You guys agree with that?
Yep.
So good weekend for them.
Nobody's going to keep Notre Dame out undefeated in this committee. The problem is that this is a human committee, so no chance.
And speaking of Notre Dame, today is the day that Rudy played, if you didn't know.
Or he was offsides, though, bro.
No, don't tell Notre Dame fans that.
190-pound DN with the elbow pads.
No, the elbow pads were swaggy, bro.
That's what sunk Georgia Tech, man. They've never bounced back from that.
I know. Rudy killed Georgia Tech.
How about the teams Bama's killed? Louisville goes down to BC without the Dillon kid. I mean, Bama's ending coaching tenures all over the place, man. What is this?
Yeah. Louisville trash.
Louisville is trash.
Is Louisville the worst team Bama's played this year?
Yeah.
I mean, Arkansas State's not terrible. Louisiana put up 60 on somebody today, I saw.
Who did they put up 60
I don't know. It doesn't matter for my argument.
Oh, they put up 60 on New Mexico State.
Well, still.
Either way, still.
Louisville putting up 60 on New Mexico State. That's all I'm saying.
How about Virginia Tech almost losing to Carolina?
Virginia Tech, I'm done picking Virginia Tech games. Don't put them on my slate no more. I don't know. Virginia Tech is the weirdest team in the country this year to me.
How about UVA knocking off Miami? Talk about a trash team. Talk about a trash conference.
The ACC, I don't understand. I don't understand.
Absolute joke.
Like Clemson's on a bye and he's just like, let's just sit back and watch this. Let's watch the rest of these guys trying to climb up the hill with running water down it as they slip and fall every step.
The Big 12's like, oh man, we're struggling. The ACC's like, well, hold my beer.
Nebraska's 0-6, by the way. Just saying. Well, they're not Big 12, I guess. Big 10.
Poor Nebraska.
They'll always be Big 12 to me.
Scott Frost should have just stayed and won another national championship at UCF.
They almost went down today.
They almost did. 31-30.
They pulled it out, and that's what champions do.
That's what national champions do.
That's
pulling out games at Memphis, Liberty Bowl, but not the postseason.
That's what national champions do, baby. They win.
Did you see Texas almost getting knocked off by Baylor at home?
Yeah, I think a lot of Bama fans saw it because they were clicking over to the game. And they're like, what the hell? Yeah. How are you – the Baylor quarterback – 3rd and 4th down, or the last 2 plays of that game, however many seconds were left, down a touchdown. 2 balls out of the end zone.
Because you're trash.
Back-to-back out of the end zone. Texas kid, all this stuff. They were building it up, and he throws 2 balls out of the back of the end zone. Give your guys a chance, quarterbacks. It's not that hard. Just give them a chance. You'll get PI, maybe. Keep the ball in bounds. I see that way too much.
And Texas –
4th down, not keeping it in bounds or taking a sack or just – something stupid. Get the ball out of your hands and do so lighter rather than harder. I mean,
and Texas lost Ellinger early.
Yeah, that was the chance. That was Baylor's chance.
Yeah.
Maryland feels better and better about that victory.
That was their Colt McCoy moment.
I saw Rutgers quarterback was like 2 of 18 at one point, 4 picks.
Well, Rutgers also doesn't know how to field kickoffs either anymore.
Yeah, you called me about that one.
Yeah, Maryland kicked it off, and nobody from Rutgers fielded it, and Maryland recovered and scored like 2 plays later. So I think it's safe to say that Rutgers should probably just cancel their football team.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Quick update in baseball. Top of the 9th, 4-2 Houston over Boston. Houston batting in the top of the 9th there. Game 1, ALCS, going for the Astros there. All you got to do is look at my background and know why I'm going for the Astros there. But
I'm sure you were – who are you going for in the Red Sox-Yankee series?
Oh, just
Blue Jay.
Terrorists. just whoever else was around.
Oh, you don't have a hate for
to participate.
one of those teams more
No,
than the other?
I mean, I kind of like the Yankees, man. I think I like that they're growing up. To me, the Yankees were always this older, more like in between the lines, buttoned up type of team. I think there's like the Yankees now are like looser. They're like a looser, younger bunch. Not a lot of big egos on that team. I kind of like that. They're not like the douchebag Yankees of the Derek Jeter years.
Not a lot of egos.
No, they don't. They don't. Aaron Judge is like a quiet giant. Like Giancarlo Stanton's just trying to hit bombs and cash checks.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, it's not. I'm saying like think of the A-Rod, Mark Teixeira, those teams.
Jeter,
I mean those
Roger
Jeter.
Clemens,
yeah. Think of those egos versus these. I mean the
hated those guys.
Craziest dude on the Yankees team is the closer, and that was off the field.
Yeah.
So I don't hate the Yankees team. The Red Sox kind of bother me though.
I just don't like I don't like the Yankees. You can't have like facial hair and shit. Like you gotta be like
I'm
clean
shocked
shaven.
you like that.
Clean shaven. It's bull crap.
What's the Dave? You're in the New York area. What is the pulse of Yankee Nation after another disappointment?
They're Yankee fans, so they think they're going to be buying everyone this offseason. Machado, the best pitcher on the market from Arizona, Tyler Corbin's going to be a Yankee. And then, I mean, look, they're disappointed every time the Yankees lose to Red Sox. They cry for a couple weeks, but they have a good young team. They're going to be around for a really long time. So they're overall they're happy with like the direction of the team. The young guys are all there. They won 100 games. When they didn't have a bad season, they had a great season. So, classic Yankees. We're going to buy everybody. We'll be back next year. See ya.
Yep.
27 rings. Goodbye.
Yeah.
So
not surprised.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that game one is winded down a little bit, just in case you're looking for an update. Are there any? What are the college games looking like right now? I don't have
it's,
that on.
It's 7-7 between Colorado and USC.
Don't you do it, Colorado, and I don't even know who the head coach is, but don't you do it, head coach of Colorado. Don't you do it.
14-10, Boise's beating Nevada. BYU's beating Hawaii 21-3, and Fresno's beating Wyoming 6-3. So some real barn burners going on late night.
Yeah, I thought they missed an opportunity with that Washington-Oregon game being a 3:30 kick Eastern. I thought that was a miss.
That was whack.
Going up against Georgia LSU, I thought they could have made a couple more dollars if that was an 8 o'clock game, because that would have been one that everybody.
This USC Colorado game is a rough watch. That's a really rough watch. Even though I have a rooting interest, I hate USC.
What is up with USC? Who are the biggest disappointments this year? USC's in that conversation. Florida State's in that conversation.
Auburn.
Penn State is starting to get in that conversation. Auburn is emceeing the conversation.
I mean, Washington with 2 tough losses on a team that was maybe playoff bound. That's disappointment. Wisconsin getting crushed today against Michigan.
Hey, y'all see my guy Shea Patterson though?
Sugar Shea with the wheel.
He got whopped down though at the very end.
He did.
You can't get wooed like that, bro. You got to score.
He ran out of gas, man. Good for them. They're a sneaky team, man. Michigan 1 loss, and the loss is to an undefeated.
Yeah, not a bad loss at that. Close game against ND.
I would love to see the Ohio State-Michigan matter. Ohio State, every year that they're good, they still always seem vulnerable. What is that? It's like what we were saying about Georgia before today. We were like, okay, they still haven't really put in that performance that makes you say, holy crap, these guys can win it all. And Ohio State hadn't done that for me. We were saying that about Georgia, and then today happened. We're saying that about Ohio State. They have yet to lose, but they haven't looked like that team to me. Now, Dwayne Haskins, he's probably there, but the team has not looked like it to me. So,
no, I don't. Yeah, they struggled with Minnesota. Granted, the score doesn't look like they struggled with Minnesota, but I mean, they struggled with Minnesota. I mean, it was. Dwayne Haskins had another great game. He threw for 412 and 3 touchdowns. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, they couldn't run the ball. And then they got the ball ran down their throat. I mean, So Ohio State, I mean, that Ohio State Michigan game this year
Oh, it's
could
gonna be
be
a great game.
could be one for the ages.
We need it. Harbaugh needs
It's
it.
at Ohio State, so that's gonna be even tougher for Michigan than to
Yeah,
to
Harbaugh
win.
needs that. Harbaugh needs that one because he needs to get over the hump, the Ohio State hump. He needs to get over it, and they need to win that game because they're my Big Ten champion.
Yeah, well, I guess we can get into a little bit of recruiting here. Just quick update for the folks. Big news coming in real quickly. Crimson Cleo, friend of the show. I wish she was on so that we could get her reaction to Tua throwing that pass to Jalen Hurts. I don't know if she
I
survived.
always, I always try to get her. But
Yeah, she's the biggest combo fan there is. Shout out to her. We used her GIF earlier on Twitter. So we tweeted, "Hey, we're going live. A lot to talk about." And she responded and said, "There's LOL. The only thing that needs to be discussed, eyeball emoji, is," and it's a screenshot of a tweet from one Kayvon Thibodeaux, who tweeted out at 10:27, "I will be moving up my commitment date." Dave, the initial reaction to that?
Usually when a kid sends out, "I'm moving up my commitment date," and he's on an official visit at a certain school, that's usually a good sign for the school that he's at, right? You gotta think that's like a positive momentum.
Oregon.
But with
He's
this
at
kid,
Oregon. Yeah.
yeah, with this kid, who knows though? This kid's tough to figure out. It always seems like he's coming off a high off one of these visits, whether it be Florida State, Alabama. This kid can go anywhere. I don't have a good beat on where he's headed. What about you guys? What's your feel?
Sent the tweet to somebody, and they said, "Yeah, he's probably moving his date up a day or two." LOL. That wouldn't shock me.
Classic.
That wouldn't shock me, Kev. I mean, is this all Oregon with the vibe here, or is this a smoke screen? It seems like he's smart enough to pull something like that at all.
Yeah, like I said, Oregon had the best chance of getting him out of the West Coast teams that are fighting for him. And I mean, Oregon is a very impressive place when you go there. I mean, the facilities are the best in the country. Obviously you have the uniforms and all of that. So, I mean, if for a kid like that, I mean, this is, he seems to be one of these guys that he likes the flashiness and stuff like that. So, I don't know. He is hard to figure out, but you gotta think that coming off an official to one of the top schools in the country as far as things to offer kids, like the swag and the facilities and the different uniforms and all that stuff for a guy like that. I mean, you got to think that it would be good for Oregon. So
Sure.
especially being on, like you said, coming off an official, so that means he got the full 48 hours.
Yeah, he's still there.
He got the full treatment. Yeah, I'm sure he got there this morning, and he'll probably be there till tomorrow morning. Or no, that means he would be there till tomorrow night. So, I mean, you got to think that it would look good for a team like that.
Yeah, I think so as well. But Bama's in this thing. Bama's in this thing with Thibodeaux. They're in it with Nolan Smith. They're in it with some edge guys, and I think, like you said earlier, Kev, there's an angle here to that group as things progress this year. So you wonder how that could impact his recruitment. But either way, I think he's still taking his time. Pushing it up could be something very literal, as in a couple days, maybe a week. But I still think you're looking at a December for the number one player and edge rusher in the 24/7 Sports composite rankings. He was at Oregon, already took his trip to Bama. Other 5-stars made it to Bama. Nakobe Dean was on the expected list. Ishmael Sopsher was on the list. He made the trip to Tuscaloosa, and I believe he was joined by family. Kev, why are we laughing over there?
Because speaking they appear, Cleo comes in. We're going to lose them because they have better furniture.
That's great.
You speak and they shall appear. So, but yeah, yes, Stopshire being on campus with family is big.
I mean, look at those D linemen. I'm just saying, there's a chance. There's a chance they all are not playing for Alabama next year. We know one of them for sure won't be with Bugs, and then younger guys, Davis and Williams, draft eligible. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm sure the Raekwon Davis punches will make it there.
I'm hearing buzz that they might both come back, but I'm leaning myself that both are gone. So we'll see what happens. I think it'll be a win if they can just get one of those guys back. Just
right, I agree.
Look at the depth chart and who they have and who they need to come back. So if they can just get one of those guys, whether it be Davis, whether it be Williams, that'll be huge for.
So then next year you come out, LeBron Ray, whichever one of those two guys stays. Who's your other guy? Who's your other guy in that classic 3-man front?
Well, if it's Davis coming back, you're going to see Mathis start at nose.
Oh yeah, that's true. He got some heavy rotation tonight. So yeah, he's getting those reps. That's important. That's what he's kind of doing. What we saw Quinn Williams do a little bit last year in terms of just kind of taking a little bit more reps game by game. So it seems like they're definitely trying to work him in a little bit more. But D-line recruiting is going to be more interesting by the day. As 92 and 99, and 99 had a great game today.
He did. Yeah, for sure.
It was his best game of the year.
Yeah, I think so. Before he got a little punch happy, I thought he was playing really, really well. So that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. I'm sure that those punches we'll see over and over again over the next year or so. But yeah, so Sopsher was on campus. LSU is the top contender, and that's where it's interesting because we all have said, okay, let's see how LSU season goes. But then, they're having a great year. They've beaten 3 top 10 teams this year. Nobody else can say anything like that. So I think that's a pretty big deal.
Did Dean make it?
I heard that he wasn't going to be coming. This is before the weekend, so I don't think he made it today.
Yeah, there's been a lot of fluctuation there with Nakobe. So I'm not sure what that's about. Obviously, the good thing is that there is proximity to Tuscaloosa in terms of why his plans fluctuate so much. So that is a good thing. But obviously, you want to get the kid on campus. So that's that's something to monitor. But I don't see anything about him going anywhere else. Have any of you?
No, I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, maybe he's taking it easy a little bit. But
you got to think LSU had a big weekend recruiting wise with the atmosphere, the big win, all those guys. I know they had a ton of guys on campus.
Yeah, they had dudes on campus. It's setting up nicely for them.
I wouldn't be shocked if they flipped that Georgia running back commit. My top running back in his class, John Emery.
Oh, same for me. That's my number one guy.
And I think they had a chance to flip it. I don't know why he wasn't showing much interest in LSU before the season. Maybe it's due to on-field play because LSU has a big need at running back and hometown kid. Team's doing well.
And why didn't Georgia run the ball more in this game? Man, they were running the ball extremely well. Yeah, they didn't win the point of attack through the whole game, and they had trouble protecting from, but I thought Holyfield ran really well today. Swift, is kind of their change more carries. Yeah, I mean, I think both of those guys need the rock. That was kind of weird. If I'm that kid in particular, who I'm sure was at the game, he's a Louisiana kid. That's the one I'm like, well, hey, LSU ran the ball a ton. Georgia, it seemed like at least flipping through several games that they were more willing to abandon it. And this was even before the game got out of hand. I'm gonna pull up those numbers, but it was an interesting game. I thought Georgia tried to get a little too cute, even when they would run well, almost trying to set something up. They would go defer right back to the passing game there. So
They only had 113 yards on the ground.
I don't know why. I mean, but look at Swift average 6 yards a pop, Holyfield 8 yards a pop. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Their top two guys average better than LSU's top two guys, even though LSU ran for 275.
Yeah, and especially with Fromm struggling, I mean, you think that they would have ran more.
Yeah, it was just kind of an inefficient day across the country. Fromm 16 of 34, Joe Burrow 15 of 30. A lot of percentages right around that 50% mark, which was kind of odd. Jalen Hurts, by the way, 7 of 8, Mr. Dave.
Nice. Good for him.
And that's where it ends. I actually thought his second deep shot was a really good ball today. That was it Ruggs?
Corner.
The corner one? That was nice. You
Yeah.
don't see him do that often where he just puts a ball on a spot and hopes the wide receiver makes a play on it.
Yeah, the first deep shot to Judy was kind of like, hey, single high safety, man coverage, just throw it up there, and he did. But I thought the Ruggs play was pretty progressive, new age Jalen Hurts throwing wise.
Yeah,
we'll see how defense.
I heard. What do you guys think of this rumor going out this week that Jalen might be coming back next year?
This dude's a PR monster. That's what I think.
I've heard it.
I thought it was crazy. Like, why would he not want to be a starter in his last chance of showing? Not that he's going to be an NFL quarterback, but in his mind, hey, let me show what I got my last year.
Win a national championship.
Obviously,
yeah, I mean, if they're going to do the same thing that they're doing this year, I mean, you're still going to get tons of playing time. And is that
enough though?
He's got multiple years of tape, though.
Yeah, and I mean, you got, for a kid like that, like he's a team guy. He's obviously he's shown that, but I mean, I don't know. I've heard it though. I've definitely heard it. Now, whether or not I think it happens, I don't know.
That'd be crazy.
Gus Bus.
No chance.
Gus Bus. Burrow Bus. O Bus. Arkansas Bus. I don't know, man. I don't know. No, it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't floor me because he's been the one guy that has become the example of how to deal with this new age quarterbacks bail in at the first sign of adversity culture. So that wouldn't shock me. But I've always had this coaching vibe with Jalen. I don't know, maybe because his dad's a coach and he's a quarterback and he's willing to do whatever, which is also kind of new, by the way. I thought today, he's lined up outside a few times, but he's gotten handoffs and he's thrown. Today caught a pass. So it's like he's every little step taken towards being a true team guy and doing whatever is asked of him. I didn't know if he was willing to do that at one point. So that is encouraging to see. But I've always had this coaching vibe with him. It doesn't mean he's going to coach immediately after next year, but I've always had this vibe that one day he'll cycle back to be a coach. And a lot of people, because he's a PR monster here, are going to turn back to this year as kind of the foundation as to why they give this guy the benefit of the doubt. So it's a win-win for Jalen. It's a win-win for Jalen. He's got 2 years of starting tape at the highest level. He's going to continue to get reps in general here, and I think everybody can see progression within that. So the NFL is not 100% out of the question in terms of him having a shot, whether it's late-round pick, free agent. Somebody is going to give this kid a shot. I almost can guarantee that. Somebody will have him in camp in some capacity, and if you're him, that's all you could ask for.
Yeah, I mean, he's proven he can win ball games. So I mean, NFL teams, like winners, and he's proven he can win ball games. He's proven he's a team player. He's proven all of those things that that NFL teams are going to look at. So I mean, I think he has a good shot. I think somebody will have him in camp. I think he has a decent shot at least making a roster because he's willing to do whatever it takes to help teams win. So I definitely think he makes a roster somewhere. And but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he stays or if he goes. So
I mean, look, Nathan Peterman started a game in the NFL this year. Nathan
I mean,
Peterman, trash, just straight trash. So anything is possible, I think, with this kid. And look, I mean, he's playing this uphill battle for all of this year. It's like if he does it next year, he knows what to expect. So
yeah,
I don't know. And Saban's been with these two guys, man. It's been a different vibe. It's just been a whole.
he loves.
It's been a whole different Saban vibe. So if it could work with anyone, it would be Jalen. And this is what we said preseason. We said if there's anybody who would stay anyway, it would be Jalen. So if he does it again, it shouldn't floor us.
Yeah, definitely.
Dave, what would scare you more? Jalen Hurts with LSU, Auburn, Tennessee. I don't know. Name a school.
It would scare me more if he had to start for us. How about that?
There he is.
He can go to any one of those schools, and I would have no fear whatsoever. You don't think Saban would be able to beat a Jalen Hurts-led offense at any of those places?
I think Saban would call off the dog. Don't blitz this man because I have.
Don't touch this guy. Don't hit him anywhere. Just touch him.
Yeah.
Saban would probably have 11 in the box, and yeah, it would be like that. USC just scored a touchdown. They're up 14-7, 3 minutes left in the first half, if anyone cares.
JT Daniels.
JT Daniels, like 7 years old.
I still don't understand how USC is just never in the playoff picture hunt. I mean, they have so much talent on both sides, like NFL talent on both sides of the ball. It just amazes me.
Because they're all like 12 years old.
Bunch of young guys out there playing, but
it's I think they're the youngest team in the country.
We keep thinking they're going to figure it out.
Yeah,
but it's the same thing because then every year they lose one or two guys that or big time players, and it's like, all right, so even if they have talented guys coming up, it's not they're any better in the next year. They got some guys though this year that are going to be NFL draft eligible. The linebacker Cam Smith, Porter Gustin.
Yep.
Tyler Vaughn's.
I like Vaughn's coming out of high school, man.
Yeah,
he was smooth. He was a smooth cat. He was a smooth guy. A little bit of that Ridley vibe. Not necessarily as explosive, but a little bit of that smooth, smaller frame type of deal. Let's see. Let's go to team of the week. Let's give a team of the week award. I mean, is it Oregon? Is it Tennessee? Is it LSU? Who's the team that was most impressive given the circumstances, opponent, etc.? And we can all go different if we want.
I'll keep it in the SEC. I'll go LSU. I was expecting a close game, but I just didn't see how LSU would be able to beat Georgia, and damn, I was wrong. Just with that kind of win, like over number 2 rated seed, beat them up good. That to me was impressive.
Dave, Cleo says Jalen is the MVP. Just admit it. MVP, not number 1 pick, but MVP.
MVP of the second unit. That's for sure.
Kev, team of the week.
Team of the week goes to Oregon. Big game. They needed it. They needed a win against, arguably the top team in the league. And they found a way to win. They probably should have beaten Stanford, and they'd be sitting, they'd still be sitting undefeated. But they needed this win. I think they performed well. They found a way to win. How about Cristobal icing the kicker at the end of the game?
Straight double, triple ice, man. All them timeouts.
Yeah, so he had 2 timeouts and he double iced the kicker. And then how about on third down? Third down in overtime, you get a penalty, backs you up, and then he goes with the run play right up the middle for a touchdown. I thought that was pretty ballsy.
I liked it. I like the play design too, man. Dylan Mitchell, their
Yeah,
best receiver, comes across the
you put him
formation.
in
Washington was kind
motion.
of shook by that, and I expected pass. I think a lot of people did, so that was a nice counter.
Yeah, so I mean, I think you're seeing the evolution of Cristobal as a head coach, and I think Oregon has some good things moving forward. It sucked to see Warmack get hurt, coming one of the Bama transfer, but
Oh, that's right.
he got hurt and didn't return. So, and then their true freshman, the Samoan kid that everybody's really high on, the left tackle, he got hurt too.
Oh, Penei Sewell.
Yeah,
Former Bama target.
Oh, he's been good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good player.
So he got
for Mario.
Yeah, he got roughed
you
up
think
a little
Dave's
bit.
from New York?
From Mario. Super Mario. He's a plumber.
All love, Dave. You know that. I'll go Tennessee, man. Why not? Speaking of former Bama assistants, I'll go Tennessee. I thought that there were a couple of moments in that game where you kind of expected Auburn to turn it up and close the gap, but that Tennessee defense just stayed on it. They stayed on it, and they had to defend an Auburn offense that we hadn't really seen, a pass-heavy Auburn offense, which we have been asking for from Gus, but it was more in a retaliation, it felt like today. It was a higher volume passing game, but it was still a lot of the same Auburn-looking passes, if that makes sense. And if you're wondering what that is, Bama fans, just look at Bama the last couple of years. Those of you who don't like Jalen Hurts, think of those kind of plays. Houston just won this baseball game, by the way. But I'll go Tennessee. That defense continued to attack. A lot of guys we used to cover playing out there looked really good. Nigel Warrior was great. Their O-line's really good. I think they got some dudes. Now, against Alabama, probably not, but I thought they put up their best effort of the season. Garantano's making some strides from up Dave's way. So that was good for that program, but I think they would still take Jalen Hurts next year, by the way, if it was their choice. But, yeah, I would, again, I selfishly want to see with this whole Tua thing, I want to see Jeremy Pruitt spend a week knowing that Jalen Hurts is the guy, and game planning for that, and how Mike Locksley counters, because there were some funky plays today from Mike. He's opened it up just a little bit more each game, it seems like. Obviously, those two Jalen Hurts plays were kind of holy crap plays. I know they got the crowd excited. So you just wonder how much more he could have in store in general. Obviously, with both of them on the field, it's Tua at quarterback more times than not. But I just want to see kind of Locksley and Pruitt heads up with Jalen Hurts in there. And I think, again, we said at some point Bama's going to need Jalen Hurts. So need is a relative word. And I think Bama has that luxury to find it out. And I sort of hope that they do. And that way Tua is ready to roll November 3rd and for the remainder of the season. So I think that'll be fun. But good for Tennessee. We'll see how they move after a game like this. And obviously they got Bama, so they go from Auburn right to Bama, but they do get Bama at home. And the crowd, I would imagine, will be pretty pumped for that after dismantling Auburn. What is that, 3 losses for Auburn this year?
4-3 on the season, 3 losses in conference.
And that's with beating Washington.
So now Washington's loss looks even worse.
Yeah, Washington's got to feel pretty tough, and that was a tough game for them today. Kicker misses at the end of regulation, and defense gives up a touchdown. That's pretty tough. Again, good on Oregon. Good for that running back too. He was the one who fumbled against Stanford. Yeah. So good on that kid. I think he's a freshman as well. I mean, there's freshmen balling everywhere this year. It's a beautiful thing. For us, we cover recruiting. It's really cool to see all these freshmen making huge plays everywhere across the country. Anything else in the chat, social media, Kev?
Well, I wanted to to say that with the LSU win, I know why LSU won, and is the video of my man and his dad doing the haka
Oh my
on the
that was
way
gosh.
great.
into the stadium. That's why LSU won.
That is the only reason why they won. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
and
just
then
something
also
else.
the reason why Iowa State won is their marching band dressed up in the T-Rex costumes during halftime. If you haven't seen that, just look for that because it's amazing. Um, so, but
Cleo
yeah, my man.
wants to know if we could pray for Devontae Smith. I think he's good. I think he's going to be all right.
He's good, y'all.
He was
He'll be
bouncing around there on the sideline.
Yeah,
He's fine.
I think he'll be all right. So
All right.
he'll be good. Yeah. Social media wise, I mean, there's not much else going on or stuff that I've seen as far as, well, let me look and see what these guys have posted post game because they always like to post after wins and stuff. Well, obviously Talia was there today. If you didn't see him in the shots of mom and dad.
How mad was Mark Freeman, the coach at Thompson, when he was shown on screen, just chugging a Sprite?
Yeah.
Chugging that Sprite. That's great. First thing I thought of. Weird. It was a weird weekend in high school, by the way. For those who don't know,
He was sitting with the
you were
family.
trustful. Yeah. He was sitting up top with the fam. He didn't go down and check on his brother though. It was a weird night in high school last night. Thompson High School almost lost to Vestavia Hills. Hewitt Trustful lost to Mountain Brook, which was a huge upset, even though Mountain Brook's undefeated. They hadn't played that gauntlet yet of Hewitt, Hoover, and Thompson. So it was even a weird night in high school football Friday night. So I think it kind of set the tone for a pretty weird weekend there. Just real quick. But yeah, that Sprite was a victory drink for Talia.
Yeah, they haven't. There's not really much else on social media as far as these guys. So,
Alrighty, Dave, where we at? Anything else you'd like to add?
This USC game's getting worse and worse. 21-7 now. I think I'm going to be not around for the second half.
Pac-12 is going to be all about the Ducks and crystal ball. Can we get that crystal ball versus Saban?
That would be nice.
1 versus 4.
That would be a
right
good
there?
game.
Yeah.
That would be a good game. Justin Herbert's looked really good. QB1 coming into the NFL draft.
Yeah, I'm with that.
from 2 miles away from Autzen Stadium, by the way.
That's pretty cool. Those are always great stories.
Yeah.
Stories. Tuscaloosa native.
Does he have a brother that's
nice touchdown, by the way? For
he has a tight end brother that's committed to Oregon.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so someone said that maybe he might come back next year because he wants to play with his brother, but I'm not buying it.
If I'm the little brother, I'm like, yo, homie, go get that cheddar. Like, I'll see you on the other side. Like, I'll see you around. Like, you can come to any game you want. You know, I'll take your locker or something. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't see him. I don't see him forgoing, that kind of money, especially with like the Tua draft next. Following season.
So just real quick, I guess playoff wise, I know it's October 14th now on the East Coast. No winless or no undefeated teams in the Pac-12 if Colorado goes down tonight. There's already no undefeated teams remaining in the Big 12 after West Virginia lost. Am I right on that?
Right.
Yes,
the ACC has 2 left. Don't forget about NC State.
Trash.
Which is playing Clemson next week. So
one of those, yeah. So that'll be down to 1. It'll probably be the one that we expect. SEC's down to 1 with Bama, and the Big 10 has just Ohio State, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So the playoff picture is getting pretty crazy. And then there's Notre Dame undefeated. So I think they've got to feel great right now. They almost had a weird game, right? They did have a weird
for them. Yeah. They almost went down.
They almost went down.
To Pitt.
Yeah, Pitt. I mean, how about Pitt the last couple of weeks? Pretty good after looking pretty terrible against everyone else. Playoff picture.
Pitt always plays that one game a year where you're like, who is this team and where have they been all year?
Yeah, 2 years ago they beat Clemson and last year they beat Miami.
Yep.
killed Miami last year.
Killed them. Yeah, it was too cold for Miami. I remember I was late in the season, Miami. Now
At
it was after a
Pittsburgh,
big
right?
Miami win.
Playing
Yeah.
Heinz Field in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they didn't want that smoke.
And the true freshman quarterback from Jersey showed
from
up.
Pitt? There you go.
From Pitt last year, yeah.
Jersey stand up.
Beat Miami.
So playoff picture would be 1 Bama right now, 2 Ohio State, I guess, 3 Notre
2
Dame,
Ohio State,
3 Notre Dame,
4 Clemson,
4
ACC.
4
Clemson. Yeah.
Clemson 3, Notre Dame 4.
Yeah.
But if I had to rank the team, that's a playoff picture. If I had to rank the teams, like if I had a vote, not that anyone gives a shit. But
One day,
if I had a
Dave.
vote,
One day.
If I had a vote and my name wasn't Bruce Feldman, something like that, I would take LSU over Clemson right now. I mean, how do you not? They have 3 top 15 wins. They're looking good.
3 top 10 wins.
3 top 10, right? Yeah. Miami,
And LSU's
Auburn,
got
and Georgia.
Does LSU play Florida? That's always a crossover.
Yes, they do. Yeah, yeah,
a permanent
sure
crossover. Yeah. So if LSU can keep winning, I mean, wow. That
if they just lose they have 1 loss already. I was gonna say if they lose to Bama, maybe in a closer.
LSU already
game,
played Florida. That was their loss.
That was their loss. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
How about this? If LSU loses to Bama in a close kind of game and then wins every other game, still has a possibility for the playoff picture, depending on what other teams do. What do you say?
think LSU would need Florida to beat Georgia. I think that would be a big help, and keep the Bama game as close as possible.
Right, keep the game as close.
And then Bama beats
them over
the
1-loss
champion.
teams, though.
Then Bama beats East champion Florida to give them 2 losses, and then so that LSU only has the 1 loss and is clearly the number 2 team in the SEC, like Bama was last year, and that's how they got in. So, I mean, LSU's resume, if they finish with 1 loss, or I guess it'd be 2 losses if they lose to Bama, it would be just as good as Bama's resume last year, I think, because of the quality of those wins.
Yeah, they have a ton of good teams.
Although
played,
two of those top 10 teams, I think we're finding out, had no business being up there, Miami and Auburn, obviously. But at the time, it's a top 10 win. So that's on the same humans who picked the playoff. So that playoff would be fun. So Bama Clemson again in the semifinal, and then Ohio State Notre Dame, which would be a fun Midwest game in the other semifinal. So I think you would get Ohio State, Bama, and make all of the fans super excited about a chance at redemption against Urban. Although I want to see how Trevor Lawrence looks the next month or 2. Just saying.
Yeah.
So
he looked better last game against.
They'll be fine.
Georgia Tech.
It was Wake. Oh yeah, Georgia Tech then Wake. Yeah, so
Wake Forest.
They're rolling, and they had a bye, so they'll be good. But yeah, Justin Ross versus Pat Surtain coming to a theater near you, Dave.
Should be a fun matchup.
Yeah. So that's where the playoff is.
T. Higgins. Yeah, that's. Yeah. Maybe
Excellent.
7 or 8 teams have a shot right now. There's not a lot of teams that have a shot at the playoffs right now. A lot of teams just got eliminated. So,
I agree.
We know who those 7 or 8 teams are. The rest of them just playing for keeps now. So
that's what the playoff has been, though. I mean, the playoff has been a small select group of Nike schools, because they're all Nike, that have made it so far. By the way, that have snuck in. It hasn't been a diverse group at all. I think maybe most of those teams haven't even changed coaches. Florida State has, Oregon has, I guess Oklahoma by default, but they promoted from within, so it wasn't a traditional firing or scandal or whatever. But Ohio State, Bama, Clemson, same song and dance pretty much. So.
In Notre Dame, if they makes it, they haven't made a playoff yet, but their coach has been the same since the last time Bama took them out in 2012. So
that was Kev's sleeper team right there, playoff pick. So we'll see. It should be good. But yeah, I guess that'll do it for this weekend live show. Crimson and Blue Chips family.
Hey,
Mr.
shout
Kev.
out UCLA for getting their first dub tonight.
How about that?
Oh, I missed that.
Chip Kelly.
Nice. Good for
Who did
them.
they play? Citadel?
Cal.
Cal,
Oh, there you go.
3-2 Cal.
who was ranked
No.
2 weeks ago, but
Which is
Pac-12
crazy.
was
Trash.
Pac-12.
and
yeah.
then just a quick one. Game day is going to Washington State for the first time next week. They play Oregon.
Oh, good for the guy who always brings the Washington State flag. He could just stay home.
They mail it.
Oh.
Is there no better games next week, though?
Probably not. No, I don't know. Let's see.
Seriously.
Next week's schedule is Auburn plays Ole Miss, Wisconsin plays Illinois, Michigan plays Michigan State. Oh yeah, shout out Michigan State.
Yeah, big win there.
Oklahoma plays TCU. Cincinnati ranked.
Michigan State. That's something.
Yeah.
Alabama, Tennessee. Colorado's plays Washington, but Washington lost, and Colorado's losing right now. Yeah, shoot, NC State plays Clemson. I mean,
that should be it. 2 undefeated. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
LSU plays Mississippi State. Yeah, I mean that Clemson. Well, Oregon and Washington State are both 5-1. I get it. Well, Clemson, NC State are both undefeated, so that's kind of a weird one. And they're both ranked, so you would think.
And they're both coming off of a bye, aren't they? Did NC State play today?
No, they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, 2 teams like that coming off of a bye that know each other well. NC State's played them close the last couple of years too. I mean,
and it's at Clemson too. So
doesn't ESPN own like the ACC network or whatever, or the one that's coming?
ACC network, yeah.
It's bad for business, Disney. What you doing?
I know. Damn mouse.
It's a gift right there. Damn mouse. All right, that's probably a sign that we should wrap this thing up. All right, any parting thoughts, final words there, guys?
Nothing from my end. Solid weekend of games today.
Dixieland Delight made its return tonight.
And it's coming back next home game as well.
That's my last. They put lyrics over the part though. They didn't let it just play out.
I saw one video. It sounded okay.
Yeah. So I think they'll stick with it, and also the LSU student body sang "Neck" tonight, even though the band didn't play it.
They were singing the lyrics of that thing like second quarter.
Oh yeah. So even though the band didn't play it, the LSU student section sang it. So
that game in a couple weeks is going to be something else. Holy cow!
Oh.
What's a more pumping song?
It's kind of great though.
Or Dixieland Delight? What do you
I'll take Neck.
Neck.
I think Neck. I think Neck is just way more lit. The whole stadium is crazy when that song comes on.
It's more aggressive, man. You know.
Yeah.
I'm about that XFL life, son.
Yeah. It's definitely the more aggressive one. And I think
it's a more hyped up song, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I like the mascot inclusion. I mean, it's personal. So.
You get a obscure Dem Franchise Boys song.
And it's a weird reference too. Like you have to when you say it, you're like, whoa, like it strikes you. It's more like, striking than Dixieland Delight.
Because you're kind of like, it's kind of cringeworthy, but then you're like, screw it.
And I saw a video where a bunch of female students were singing it. So like that takes it to a whole nother level.
That's even better.
Yeah. So it's hands down Neck for all of these reasons and more. But it's good to see everyone excited about Dixieland Delight though. That's cool.
And I just remember, what was it, last year or 2 years ago when Odell was there for a game and he went into the section and was like, I don't care. He's like, I'll pay your fine or whatever. He was like, I want he's like, I need you to play neck, and I'll pay the fine. Like, so it's definitely. Oh, how about the Ohio State band doing the little floss dance with their band? That was pretty cool.
They're pretty good, man. I remember the moonwalk a few years ago. They get it. It's entertainment.
It was pretty cool, even though I hate Ohio State, but I thought that was pretty cool. So just one of those little things.
Yeah, a lot busy Saturday, fellas. Busy Saturday.
Yeah. So
all right. Well, for Bama fan Dave and our guy producer Kev, that will do it for another live edition of Crimson and Blue Chips. If you're still here, please subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. We've got goals to hit, more shows to do, more content to produce, and a lot of surprises, hopefully good ones, coming along in the next week or two. So stay tuned there at CABC Pod on Twitter, and obviously you know where to find us on YouTube. Thanks for listening, everybody. God bless. Garcia and the crew out.